hands behind your back now!
Here at the Fake Britain House, we'll reveal the fakes that are flooding the market, conning people like you and me, and making money for the criminals. We'll investigate the fraudsters who are selling us something that isn't real and could be dangerous, and will help you avoid falling for a fake. Today on Fake Britain, the fake email scam that's stealing thousands from children's football teams.
It's so sophisticated and at the same time it's really simple.
Secrets of the smugglers. The tricks they use to try and get fakes through our borders.
They're described as picture frames. I think it could be a controlled drug.
The fake perfume that's a hazard to your health.
That is dangerous.
The first organ that is affected is your eyesight. You can actually go blind.
And fake free-range bacon. Someone's been telling porkies.
They've removed the bacon from the original packaging and we're repackaging into their own.
Millions of us volunteer for local community groups, and we do it for all sorts of reasons. Often because we like to help and because we can. And that makes it all the more galling when the fakers take advantage of that generosity and goodwill to line their own pockets by using a sophisticated fake email scam. Today is a big day for Laurel Park Football Club. They've been championing grassroots football for boys and girls in the town of Early, Berkshire since 1996. And today is their annual Family Fun Day.
Very fun club to be at.
Because of the strong community, it's easy to make friends with people.
I've been here most of my life. It means a lot to me.
This year, the Fun Day is especially important. Why? Because the club recently fell victim to a fake email scam that lost it tens of thousands of pounds. Today is crucial because they need to raise enough money to keep the club going.
It made you feel sick that they took all that money away from kids.
I love the club and I would hate to see the club go.
The club's run as a not-for-profit enterprise and exists purely thanks to the efforts of its volunteers. Most are relatives of the youngsters that play. Ian Jobson is the club development officer.
We're set up as a grassroots club. We've got 27 teams playing, and across those teams we've got nearly 400 players. The key is getting as many children out involved in sport, involved in activities that really give kids something else to do instead of sat inside on an Xbox or a PlayStation.
The club funds itself through charging its members fees. In charge of the finances is its treasurer. He recently received an email from the club chairman saying he urgently needed to settle an invoice to local builders merchants, Jewsons.
The text of the email go along the lines of, I've got an urgent invoice that needs paying, we need to transfer the funds quickly, could you do it for me? That kind of polite, chatty, conversational text, but in a manner of, I kind of need to get this done nice and quickly.
As the club has regular work done, an invoice to Jewsons for several £1,000s didn't seem out of the ordinary.
As a club, we've got payments going out all the time. So he looked at it, thought it was money that needed to go, and reacted to it.
The treasurer checked the email carefully, and it had definitely come from the chairman. In it were Jewson's bank account details. Convinced it was genuine, he transferred the full amount.
It wasn't really until we'd been pretty much cleared out that the penny kind of dropped.
The emails were fakes. They had actually been sent by a gang of computer fraudsters. They had set up a fake email account and made the emails appear to have come from the chairman's genuine email address. And of course, the Jewsons' bank details were fake too. The money had gone straight to the fraudsters.
This scammer has used a fake account. It's not a real email address from us. Our treasurer has seen that, apparently. It's from our chairman's account and assumed on good faith that it was. It's a phishing email. It's effectively someone throwing a hook out there, seeing if anyone bites. And they can sit there all day sending these out to hundreds and hundreds of clubs, and then eventually someone bites and you've got them on the hook. It's so sophisticated, and at the same time, it's really simple.
The club reported the theft to the police and their bank, but were only able to retrieve £8. It's left Laurel Park Football Club on the brink.
We have an annual, I guess you'd call it, turnover of between £50,000 and £60,000. So to lose £28,000, that's a massive hole. These scammers, they seem to be preying on people who, in their eyes, are an easy target. You're a volunteer, you're doing a day job, so they know that not necessarily everyone is going to be able to check that things are correct. We were borderline whether we were going to fold or not.
Currently, the club is clinging on, but being scammed in this way has had a big impact on its members.
It's absolutely devastating for the club to find out something so big happened.
Just thinking someone would steal from a kid playing football is shocking. Why would they do that?
We were devastated. So our treasurer is an 82-year-old man, and he was hit really hard by it, to the point where he actually turned around and said, look, I'm going to sell my house to recoup some of the funds. It's not his fault. We as a club are not going to hold him accountable for that.
Fake Britain has discovered that children's sports teams up and down the country have been targeted in this way. Professor Mark Button from the Centre for Counter-Fraud at the University of Portsmouth says small, not-for-profit organisations like Laurel Park are particularly vulnerable.
When you've got charities, you've got a lot of information in the public domain, which makes this a lot easier. A lot of information on the individuals who are trustees of those charities or the chief officers, perhaps even bank account details. They are a kind of a very lucrative and sometimes easy target for those dedicated ruthless fraudsters to target.
Police are currently investigating the club's case, but so far no arrests have been made. The challenge now is for Laurel Park to make sure they have a viable future, and the Fund Day has certainly helped with that.
We're raising loads of money on all of our stalls. The support all round has been unbelievable. Following what happened, this has been a great event to help us raise a great deal of money for the club.
London Heathrow. Over 200,000 passengers use this airport every day, making it Britain and Europe's busiest. And with that comes a vast amount of air freight, over 1.5 million metric tonnes a year. Making sure what comes in is safe, legal and properly taxed is the job of the UK's Border Force. Today, Officers Glenn and Amajit are on duty in the inspection area of one of Heathrow's cargo sheds.
I'm just going to show you some of the everyday items that we find on a daily basis.
Gucci stocks.
Louis Vuitton. It's quite a poor quality. It's not even straight, so we see to need sort of day in, day out.
According to Amajit, more and more of the fakery they're dealing with lies in what's written on the packet, as smugglers attempt to use deception to get illegal goods into the UK. And he thinks he might have just hit on such a case.
Well, we've got some packages. They're described as picture frames. They don't appear to be picture frames.
Picture frames generally a lot bigger. We're thinking that it's not going to be picture frames within there.
The description is enough to attract Amajit's interest, so he makes the call to open a packet to see what's inside.
I've got a silvery foil package, sort of heat sealed.
Heat sealed packages, a good way of stopping the smell.
These are white rocks. It's not what was described on the box. It's almost like fudge. It doesn't look like a commercial package. It definitely looks suspicious. I think that we should test it because it could be a controlled drug.
If it is drugs, it could be a big find for the team.
Each of these packages weigh about 1.5 kilos. In total, I believe we have 7 of these.
If it is potentially a controlled substance, it will have to be sent to a laboratory for analysis. But the team are supplied with field tests to give them an initial idea.
I'm going to take a small sample, slide that in. I'm going to break the ampules one at a time, then you can like shake them. Last one. That blue colour, see it matches there. It's telling us that that's a positive field reaction with methamphetamine, so that is a controlled drug. They will be seized, and we take them away and secure there.
It's a major result for Glen and Amarjit. Once rarely seen in the UK, methamphetamine, or crystal meth as it's better known, is a banned psychoactive drug. This glossy US TV series, Breaking Bad, brought the drug to many people's attention through its unflinching look at its manufacture and the criminality involved in its distribution. The drug's notoriety is increasing in the UK, with arrests related to its use going up 500% in the last 5 years. However, its use is still not widespread, and Border Force plans to keep it that way. If this is confirmed as methamphetamine, a large seizure like this is vital in the fight against drugs.
For the police to be looking at this, hopefully someone's going to be arrested for this offence later on.
For Glen, it's just another example of the fake parcel descriptions that call for their constant vigilance.
They're trying to disguise what they've brought in to confuse us by putting a different commodity on, so it's a direct smuggling attempt to try and get in. This isn't a particularly good concealment. It's what you call a suicide, but the minute you open the box, you're going to find the drugs. There's no real concealment there. They're relying on the description of the goods to get that through.
Substantial amount here, and in terms of money, is worth quite a lot. So that's an amount that won't be hitting the streets.
There's roughly 10 kilograms of methamphetamine here, so this isn't just a small-scale dealer. This is like quite a big operation. That's a lot of drugs on the street, so that's going to affect a lot of people. It's going to cause a lot of harm. So you've done a good job today.
Some estimates put the current street price for methamphetamine at over £200 a gram. Which means, if it is confirmed as the drug, Glen and Amarjit's seizure could be worth over £2 million. For the team here, it's 10 kilos of potentially dangerous drugs off the streets and more destruction for the criminal gang smuggling it. For me, it's difficult to beat a bacon roll. Lovely. Top quality bacon from pigs who have lived a free-range life on a local farm. Or is it? Jimmy Butler is a Suffolk pig farmer.
We go over and have a look at these over here. These pigs, I think, are about 20 weeks old.
He loves his pigs.
You can hear them talking to you, talking to me.
Most British farmed pigs spend the bulk of their lives indoors, in barns. But not Jimmy's. His are free range. Free range pork products make up little more than 1% of the UK pork market. Which makes the pigs Jimmy breeds with son Alistair very special indeed.
What makes free range different is the fact that it's a slower growing animal that means that the meat quality is so much better because the fat and the flavour that develops within the meat is different to what you get with commercially reared pork.
And they can choose to do what's natural to them. They're able to go out, scratch the ground, dig the ground, they've got acre paddocks to run around in, plenty of room, plenty of space, and they do run and play and enjoy life.
It takes longer and costs more to do what Jimmy and Alistair do, which means their meat can command a premium price. So when someone comes along, baking claims their product is British free-range meat, it makes Jimmy very angry indeed.
It's illegal and immoral. I think it's really outrageous when they do it. I really have no time for them, no patience for them, and they deserve everything they get.
But fake free-range pork was exactly what Nottinghamshire Trading Standards had to investigate recently, after they were tipped off about a supplier on their patch. It all started when Trading Standards manager Claudine White was contacted by a member of the public who'd been working at the company Barn Bacon.
A telephone call was received from an ex-employee making allegations about some of the practices that were going on. They were claiming to sell their bacon that was British, local, and those animals had been reared free range.
But the former employee was alleging that some of these claims were dubious. The company was selling its bacon at markets, farm shops and music festivals, both in raw packs and cooked up into bacon sandwiches. To see just how they were advertising their products, Claudine decided to make a test purchase. She sent in an officer to buy a sandwich from a local market and took this photo as evidence.
From this photo you can see that they're claiming that free-range pork is farm fresh from the fields of Nottinghamshire. Good old-fashioned dry-cured bacon. We've even got the British flags. It all paints a picture for a consumer that they were buying something that was local, produced in Nottinghamshire. You're drawn in instantly, believing that by buying their products you're supporting them locally.
To see if these claims were true, Claudine dug deeper.
Looked at what they were advertising on their website. They clearly stated that they got their own animals and they were rearing them free range. So we were able to access the government website that shows all registered keepers of livestock, and from that we could see that at that time they were making the claims, the company had no animals at all, there was nothing registered to them.
It was a clear contradiction and enough to get Claudine a warrant to raid their premises. This is what they filmed on that day.
We're at Barn Bacon. So this is the inside of the production area. There's a good quantity of meat products here, various types. So this looks like a production facility now within the actual barn. Got an old computer here with recipes, labelling machine, sheets now for deliveries.
And whilst there, Claudine's team found a crucial piece of evidence.
When we arrived on the day, there'd been a delivery that morning of quite a lot of bacon.
We've got some dry cured back bacon here. It's in the production area.
It's bacon from another wholesaler. They'd been caught red-handed buying it in. It was more proof their claim to have reared their own animals was a fake.
They were actually repackaging the bacon, and so we could see they'd removed the bacon from the original packaging and were repackaging into their own.
Looks like it's already been packaged up. There's a load down here as well, look. So we'll bag and tag that in.
They make claims saying it was from their own animals without having to do any of the hard work that farmers do.
Barn Bacon's repackaged bacon also clearly stated on its labels the meat was British, but was it?
Go through that and see whether there's anything in the way of invoices or paperwork from meat suppliers.
Having picked up paperwork from the raid, Claudine contacted the actual wholesaler that had been supplying the bacon.
The company they were buying it from was legitimate, but from tracing through their system, they could show us that the meat had come from Europe. In particular, the bacon that we traced had come from Denmark, Poland and Germany.
Yep, you heard it right. Rather than being from the fields of Nottinghamshire, Barn Bacon's bacon was actually from the Felder von Deutschland and Denmark and Polska. Those swines at Barn Bacon have been telling porkies. And the fake claims didn't end there. The team found plenty of Barn Bacon's advertising in the unit.
Farm fresh on that sign now. Free range and full of flavour. Quality hot rolls. Old-fashioned dry cured bacon.
The real wholesaler also confirmed the bacon wasn't free range, as it hadn't been bred to the levels of animal welfare needed to use that term. And neither was it dry cured slowly, in the old-fashioned way, as the company claimed.
In fact, the curing of this particular bacon was done in an industrial standard method.
Barn Bacon's claims were hogwash, and to Claudine, it was obvious why.
The marketing for it would allow them to sell the packet. There were 6 slices on average for £3 a packet. That's not a cheap slice of bacon when you can go to the supermarket and get something half the price.
Claudine's investigation led to charges being brought against the company bosses, father and son team William and Andrew Smith. Andrew Smith was given a 2-year prison sentence, suspended with 200 hours of unpaid community service. William Smith got 19 months, suspended and 180 hours of community service.
It was clear that the 2 individuals colluded together to deceive. The judge decided that it warranted a strong sentence because of the fraud, how long it had been going on for and the seriousness of it. The fraud had been going on for a number of years. It was in the tens of thousands. Fraud, no matter what it is very serious. Food fraud is a crime the UK faces, and it has a massive impact on consumers and legitimate businesses.
For Jimmy, Alistair and their pigs, the prosecution is also good news.
I think anybody who repackages European pork and calls it British pork deserves any prosecution they get. That is illegal, it's immoral. If a consumer buys that product thinking it's free range and then suddenly find out there's no great flavour, no different to anything else, then that kills our marketplace. And that's totally unfair.
This box contains all the electronics that allows you to watch subscription channels when you plug it into your TV. With one of these, you've got hundreds of channels at your fingertips, but this one is different. It's an expensive fake, and customers bought it because they were told they could use it to legally watch football matches live. That was a deception that cost some people dear. Welcome to the Wonky Bar, Caerphilly, South Wales. Run by landlord Clayton Jones, it specialises in televised sport.
This is the place to be if you like sport. It's very important for our customer base. Whether it's rugby, football, cricket or whatever, they come here to enjoy themselves.
As well as being a publican and a huge Cardiff City fan, Clayton is also a local councillor. But recently, he had to turn detective to get justice after he fell victim to the fake claims of a scammer.
Mr. Conman, all of a sudden, he just had to run away with all the money.
It all started when Clayton opened up a copy of one of the main trade magazines for the pub industry, and an advert caught his eye. It was from a company called Live Pub Football, offering a special set-top box. That's a device which plugs into your TV and allows you to stream channels and content from the internet. In this case, it was offering cheap subscriptions to sports channels, including every Premier League football game live for a one-off payment of £995.
The punters here love sport, but it was really difficult to justify having sport here every day of the week. When I saw that, I thought, oh, window of opportunity. Here's a guy who's promising us Sky Television, and all legal, and that was the key.
The cost of a pub subscription to Sky Sports varies, but Clayton was paying around £5,000 a year. So the £995 price for this set-top box was understandably attractive to him. Not only that, but it was offering 3 PM Saturday football matches, which not even Sky is allowed to show in the UK.
We believed that that would really engender a lot of people to come here. Because of, obviously, if you can get 3 o'clock kickoffs, it means you can get every game you want.
Clayton was surprised it was offering this, but the advert helped to convince him.
The ad was quite clear. It said it's quite legal to show programmes at 3 o'clock on a Saturday with live Football League football. Now, to me, when I saw that, I was reassured because it was in a major licensed trade magazine that it was legal. That's why we made the purchase.
Clayton signed up and paid over his £995. He received his set-top box and the Wonky Bar got its sport. It was a big hit.
3 o'clock kickoffs attract punters. Having that ability to show a 3 o'clock game, in fact, all the games, wherever they may be, was fantastic. Trade boomed.
But then things started to go wrong at a crucial time. It was the weekend. Cardiff City were playing Fulham in a crunch match to gain promotion to the Premier League. Clayton had gone to London to watch the game live, leaving manager Rita in charge back at the Wonky.
We'd advertised all week, had a really good crowd in here. Went to put it on, no match. Tried the tellies, just gets gone on wrong channel, nothing. Phoned Mr. Jones and he said, what do you mean? No football on? I said, well, there's no football. He said, it's got to be. I said, well, there's not. I said, there's nothing on the screens. I said, all the punters are complaining. And I said, people started walking out. I thought they were going to throw their pints over me at one time.
The broadcast had gone wonky, and Rita had to turn customers away. Once back in Caerphilly, Clayton decided to get in touch with Live Pub Football, the company that sold him the box.
I just wanted to get clarification of why there was a problem. He said it was a technical issue. I said, right, well, when's it going to be rectified? Because obviously the following week we had another master show. And then the following Saturday, There was nothing. So at this time, I'm thinking, you've been conned.
Clayton started looking into this sort of set-top box and live pub football and realised he'd been taken in by a fake. While the boxes themselves are legal, his had been adapted to allow it to bypass the restrictions on the TV services and provide the games for free. The claims on the advert that the system was 100% legal were 100% fake. Clayton doesn't know why the service stopped, but believes it was probably shut down by copyright enforcement teams on behalf of the TV companies.
It was a fake ad. Even the magazine were taken in by it. I'm telling everybody we've got this, and they all come in to buy beer in my place, and all of a sudden, it's not there, and you lose a lot of goodwill. And that is something which you can never buy. You can't buy goodwill. And that guy cost us a lot of goodwill.
Clayton contacted his local trading standards, but they didn't pick up his case. He felt his only option to get justice was to do a bit of detective work.
I then did some research and found out where their offices were, and I discovered it was just a dummy operation. They were leasing the premises, small premises in Manchester, but nobody was there, there was no telephone number, there was nothing.
Clayton passed his findings on to Manchester Trading Standards. They eventually got in touch with the Federation Against Copyright Theft, or FACT, where boss Kieran Sharp's team looked into the case.
The advertisement was very sophisticated in terms of it was giving you a lot of information. It looked like it could be legal, and it tells you it's meant to be legal, so that would fool people. In fact, it was quite clear that this was an illegal operation. When you see advertisements for 3 p.m. matches, they cannot be shown in the UK at 3 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon. Even if the advertisement says this is 100% legal, it cannot possibly be. So that's the biggest giveaway.
Kieran's team carried out a test purchase to buy one of the boxes, which, like Clayton's, had been illegally adapted. They worked with National Trading Standards to track down the man behind the fake claims, Malcolm Mays. Trading Standards obtained a warrant for his UK premises, and FACT went with them to execute it.
When we entered the premises, there was evidently the operation in progress. It was absolutely damning because there were a number of boxes there ready to be sold. We then went through the business itself, and there was paperwork and digital evidence.
All the boxes were found to be fitted with the illegal copyright circumventing software. They found evidence linking the boxes to dozens of pubs and clubs. Mr. Mays was charged with breaching the Copyright Designs and Patents Act. He pleaded guilty.
Malcolm Mays received a 10-month sentence of imprisonment, suspended for 1 year. He was ordered to pay £170,000 costs and also £80,000 in the proceeds of crime.
Despite this sentence, Clayton is still angry due to the money spent and the business lost, and being taken for a ride.
He's made millions out of this, and he could have got away with it. He's an absolute con merchant. And the sooner people like that are put in prison, the better.
Smelling nice is very big business. The worldwide fragrance industry is worth an estimated £40 billion, and top brands are endorsed by a host of Hollywood A-listers. But the fake fragrance business is also huge. Fakery is one thing. Creating a counterfeit fragrance that is one of the most dangerous we've ever seen on Fake Britain, well, that's something else. You know the names. You know the logos. You might even recognise the fragrances.
I don't care about tomorrow.
And no wonder. Perfumery is a market worth a whopping £1.8 billion in the UK alone. Which is maybe why perfumes are also one of the most commonly faked products going. As we've seen before on Fake Britain, when we joined police and trading standards raiding a local market.
Shut up. Finish. Probably burn the steam if you put that on it.
Putting a stop to the sale of fakes has been a priority for the UK authorities for years, and with good reason. Most perfumes contain small amounts of toxic materials. If poorly made, they can be seriously bad for your health. This was on the mind of Mike Walters of Staffordshire Trading Standards when he recently got a tip-off about a local trader selling counterfeit fragrances, amongst other dubious products.
We received some information anonymously in relation to a Facebook seller that was advertising large quantities of what appeared to be counterfeit goods. Clothing, fragrances, watches, GH2 straighteners, footwear, and it was an open page which anybody could look at.
You might not normally associate Facebook with a sale of goods, but some sellers do use profile pages to market their wares. In this case, new products were being added to the seller's site on a daily basis, and the appeal for potential buyers was obvious.
For some of the branded perfumes which you'd expect to pay, sort of 60, 70 upwards, was all being sold at sort of £10 a bottle.
Mike was convinced the products were fake, but to prove it, he needed to get hold of them. He traced the sellers through their Facebook account or local address and set about taking them down.
The warrant at what was a domestic dwelling then led us to another premise which was above a retail shop. You got a legitimate shop on the ground floor, go through the fire exit door, up the flight of stairs and you're into another shop. So this is some images of the unit, a whole section in relation to fragrances and jewellery and watches.
Prominent amongst the fakes were some perfumes, in particular Christian Dior's J'adore.
This is the Christian Dior branded perfume. The brand holder was quite quickly able to tell us that it was counterfeit.
As a confirmed fake, the J'adore perfume is illegal, but would it be safe to spray it on your skin? To find out, Mike has sent them for testing to Simon & Cole, an officer at Staffordshire Scientific Services. He's taken samples to find out exactly what's inside the bottle.
That involves distillation of the perfume itself. We'll collect that and we'll analyse that for excessive amounts of denaturant in the alcohol.
Most perfumes contain alcohol, known chemically as ethanol, to help bind the other ingredients and bring out the scent. But to meet strict laws on its use, the alcohol must be treated to make it undrinkable. To do this, something called a denaturant is added.
Typically, the denaturant in most perfumes now is methanol. Now that's allowed to be there. They purposely put it in to make it unfit for human consumption. However, they can't put too much in because it's actually toxic.
Simon's going to test what the level of methanol is in the fake J'adore perfume.
Normal results should show a small amount of denaturant. For methanol, the limit is 5% in the total volume of alcohol.
He gets to work. Simon collects the distilled sample, then it's onto the GC-MS machine. For those that don't know, that's a gas chromatography mass spectrometer.
The sample's now been injected. As it passes through the system, the volatile materials will be separated into their separate components, and then we'll be able to identify them and quantify them on the software over there.
With the analytic process complete, we finally get to find out what's inside our fake J'adore perfume.
Surprised. Really surprised. The legal limit is 5% methanol in the quantity of alcohol in the product. We've discovered over 20%. This is the main alcohol peak, that's ethanol, which you'd expect to be in perfume. This we believe to be methanol. This peak here is huge. In 20 odd years I've never seen one this high. That is dangerous.
We took our results to Dr. Chris Flower, head of the Cosmetic, Toiletry and Perfumery Association. Spraying on this perfume is likely to cause mild discomfort, but Dr. Flower warns that significant exposure to methanol can be far more serious.
Methanol can be absorbed through the skin. It is very toxic. It will certainly produce a feeling of intoxication, but it will also make you quite sick. And frighteningly, you can actually go blind from drinking methanol. This is the first fake perfume I've heard of that there is a real risk of serious injury. It's a real worry.
Mike's now putting together a case which could see the sellers of this perfume and the rest of the fake goods prosecuted, which will go some way to ensuring perfume wearers can spray away in the sure knowledge they're using the real, safe product.
Now's the time. The only way out is up.
This this, if you didn't already know, is a fidget spinner. They're all the rage in children's playgrounds and executives' offices up and down the country. But as usual, when a fashion gadget suddenly sweeps the market, the fakers aren't far behind. Fake Britain has been investigated. The fidget spinner. It's this year's must-have toy. While it might not look like much, millions of these spinning discs are estimated to have been sold around the world. Some claim they improve children's attention spans, even that they might benefit medical conditions such as ADHD. But to be sold as a children's toy, they must come with a CE mark to prove they meet European toy standards. Most of them do, but here at Fake Britain, we've learned there are fidget spinners out there faking those marks and, worse still, putting children in danger.
A playground craze has the risk of causing serious choking hazards.
At Heathrow Airport, they've seen imports of fidget spinners really take off. Thousands come through its air freight warehouses, but recently one incoming load drew particular attention. Lee Ormandy is Investigations Manager at Buckinghamshire and Surrey Trading Standards.
It was a shipment that was entering the UK from China, which contained 800 fidget spinners. When they were doing their inspection, our officers saw that there was a shoddy CE mark that had been applied to the outside of the box.
To Lee's team, the sticker looked like it had been slapped on at the last minute, and there were other irregularities that aroused their interest.
The packaging also did not comply. There was no name and address of the importer into the European Union. There was no name and address of the manufacturer. So putting all these pieces together enabled us to make the determination that this product was not what it was attempting to pass itself off as.
Concerned, Lee's team impounded the shipment and sent a sample to Hampshire Scientific Services to find out if the CE mark is real. Ian Jerram has a range of tests to check that the toys are suitable for children. The spinner is about to face the drop test.
We carry out drop tests to see if they break apart. We take the toy and we drop a kilogram weight onto it from a height of 100 millimetres, and if something comes off of them, then we have what we call a small part cylinder, which is meant to represent a child's throat.
Fidget spinners are made up of a three-pronged spinning disc which rotates around ball bearings in the centre. It means there are plenty of small parts which could come loose if the construction isn't up to scratch. To pass Ian's test, the toy mustn't break apart into pieces small enough to be swallowed.
The piece is actually detached from the main body of the toy. We'll check that piece to see whether it would actually be deemed a choking hazard to a young child.
A detached piece is a worry, but it's not a problem if it's the right size.
This is a small part cylinder. You actually place something into the cylinder, and if it shows above the top surface of the end cylinder, then it's deemed to pass, so it's not a choking hazard.
This piece separated from the spinner under the drop test, but is it likely to get stuck in a child's throat?
With the fidget spinner, where these pieces came off, we place that into the small part cylinder, and it simply fits in there.
That spinner is an out-and-out fail, and with very good reason.
Worst case scenario is that this child is playing with it, the part detaches, and if they're liable to put things in their mouth, they might put it in their mouth and they'll choke on it.
The Heathrow team were right. Any claims these are kids' toys are fake, and they should never have carried the CE mark. Back at Trading Standards, Lee Ormandy thinks he knows why the fakers did it.
A fidget spinner itself isn't required to have a CE mark. It can be intended for adult usage. The added mischief of this product is that because the CE mark was fake, the manufacturer, in essence, was passing off this as passing all necessary safety legislation.
And that means concerned parents trying to keep up with a must-have toy at the moment are being tricked. They're buying something that says it's safe for their children, but isn't. And worryingly, there are far more of them.
And we've had 3 other cases. We had 2 which failed on small parts coming off of those. One actually had batteries which became accessible, which again in themselves are quite dangerous. Children have died from electrical burns by swallowing these products.
Lee's chuffed his team stopped this shipment from ever getting into the hands of Britain's children.
From a personal point of view, I would be quite horrified to think of something that is such a playground craze potentially causing serious harm to small children.
That's all from Fake Britain. Goodbye. Here at the Fake Britain House, we'll reveal the fakes that are flooding the market, conning people like you and me, and making money for the criminals. We'll investigate the fraudsters who are selling us something that isn't real and could be dangerous, and will help you avoid falling for a fake. Today on Fake Britain, the fake email scam that's stealing thousands from children's football teams.
It's so sophisticated and at the same time it's really simple.
Secrets of the smugglers. The tricks they use to try and get fakes through our borders.
They're described as picture frames. I think it could be a controlled drug.
The fake perfume that's a hazard to your health.
That is dangerous.
The first organ that is affected is your eyesight. You can actually go blind.
And fake free-range bacon. Someone's been telling porkies.
They've removed the bacon from the original packaging and were repackaging into their own.
Millions of us volunteer for local community groups, and we do it for all sorts of reasons. Often because we like to help and because we can. And that makes it all the more galling when the fakers take advantage of that generosity and goodwill to line their own pockets by using a sophisticated fake email scam. Today is a big day for Laurel Park Football Club. They've been championing grassroots football for boys and girls in the town of Earley, Berkshire since 1996. And today is their annual Family Fun Day.
Very fun club to be at.
Because of the strong community, it's easy to make friends with people.
I've been here most of my life. It means a lot to me.
This year, the Fun Day is especially important. Why? Because the club recently fell victim to a fake email scam that lost it tens of thousands of pounds. Today is crucial because they need to raise enough money to keep the club going.
It makes you feel sick that they took all that money away from kids.
I love the club and I would hate to see the club go.
The club's run as a not-for-profit enterprise and exists purely thanks to the efforts of its volunteers. Most are relatives of the youngsters that play. Ian Jobson is the club development officer.
We're set up as a grassroots club. We've got 27 teams playing, and across those teams we've got nearly 400 players. The key is getting as many children out involved in sport, involved in activities that really give kids something else to do instead of sat inside on an Xbox or a PlayStation.
The club funds itself through charging its members fees. In charge of the finances is its treasurer. He recently received an email from the club chairman saying he urgently needed to settle an invoice to local builders merchants, Jewsons.
The text of the email go along the lines of, I've got an urgent invoice that needs paying, we need to transfer the funds quickly, could you do it for me? That kind of polite, chatty, conversational text, but in a manner of, I kind of need to get this done nice and quickly.
As the club has regular work done, an invoice to Jewsons for several £1,000s didn't seem out of the ordinary.
As a club, we've got payments going out all the time. So he looked at it, thought it was money that needs to go, and reacted to it.
The treasurer checked the email carefully, and it had definitely come from the chairman. In it were Jewson's bank account details. Convinced it was genuine, he transferred the full amount.
It wasn't really until we'd been pretty much cleared out that the penny kind of dropped.
The emails were fakes. They had actually been sent by a gang of computer fraudsters. They had set up a fake email account and made the emails appear to have come from the chairman's genuine email address. And of course, the Jewson's bank details were fake too. The money had gone straight to the fraudsters.
This scammer has used a fake account. It's not a real email address from us. Our treasurer has seen that, apparently. It's from our chairman's account and assumed on good faith that it was. It's a phishing email. It's effectively someone throwing a hook out there, seeing if anyone bites. And they can sit there all day sending these out to hundreds and hundreds of clubs, and then eventually someone bites and you've got them on the hook. It's so sophisticated, and at the same time, it's really simple.
The club reported the theft to the police and their bank, but were only able to retrieve £8. It's left Laurel Park Football Club on the brink.
We have an annual, I guess you'd call it, turnover of between £50,000 and £60,000. So to lose £28,000, that's a massive hole. These scammers, they seem to be preying on people who, in their eyes, are an easy target. You're a volunteer, you're doing a day job, so they know that not necessarily everyone is going to be able to check that things are correct. We were borderline whether we were going to fold or not.
Currently, the club is clinging on, but being scammed in this way has had a big impact on its members.
It's absolutely devastating for the club to find out something so big happened.
Just thinking someone would steal from a kid playing football is shocking. Why would they do that?
We were devastated. So our treasurer is an 82-year-old man, and he was hit really hard by it, to the point where he actually turned around and said, look, I'm going to sell my house to recoup some of the funds. It's not his fault. We as a club are not going to hold him accountable for that.
Fake Britain has discovered that children's sports teams up and down the country have been targeted in this way. Professor Mark Button from the Centre for Counter Fraud at the University of Portsmouth says small, not-for-profit organisations like Laurel Park are particularly vulnerable.
When you've got charities, you've got a lot of information in the public domain, which makes this a lot easier. A lot of information on the individuals who are trustees of those charities, or the chief officers, perhaps even bank account details. They are a kind of a very lucrative and sometimes easy target for those dedicated, ruthless fraudsters to target.
Police are currently investigating the club's case, but so far no arrests have been made. The challenge now is for Laurel Park to make sure they have a viable future, and the Fund Day has certainly helped with that.
We're raising loads of money on all of our stalls. The support all round has been unbelievable. Following what happened, this has been a great event to help us raise a great deal of money for the club.
London Heathrow. Over 200,000 passengers use this airport every day, making it Britain and Europe's busiest. And with that comes a vast amount of air freight, over 1.5 million metric tonnes a year. Making sure what comes in is safe, legal and properly taxed is the job of the UK's Border Force. Today, Officers Glenn and Amajit are on duty in the inspection area of one of Heathrow's cargo sheds.